Did you bring the kombucha?
Yes, I did. Did you?
Yeah, it's chilling in the freezer.
Chilling. Kitna chilling. I'll be
Freezer में
honest,
रखा था.
I'm not the biggest fan of this, but I'll not say that in the podcast.
आ रहा है वो. Can you restart the
Oops.
live? I mean, that's not that hard to do.
I
But
like
I think
this
you like
one.
the cola
The cola
flavor.
is better.
Cola is brilliant. But I like the blueberry one because it's better.
Cola
Maybe
is good.
Akshay, have you muted yourself? No, I mean not on the call. Good, no, that's what I was asking. They say I saw it. Can you
Are you using?
adjust it in such a way in which you sort of hide the frame, like hide your A? I think you can hide yourself or something. वैसा कुछ कर सकते हैं.
Yeah, just click don't watch. There is a thing. Uh, how about Streamlabs OBS?
I have no idea. Remove from tile करके बटन है वो कर सकते हो. Okay. Are we live on X as well? Let me check. Let me check. Pratham, say something.
What's up? Can you hear us? Mic check. This kombucha is really good. How's it?
They can hear me, so I'm sure they can hear you. So it should not be
Yeah,
an issue.
most definitely. ठीक है.
Okay, let's wait for Aditya. I think he'll be here. I think Express stream that till then I'll just get my bottle of kombucha.
Yes. Cool. Sounds good.
Got the cola one.
This is 30 something calories.
Fine. No?
Yeah.
What were you expecting? Like you wanted it to be zero
Seems about
sugar?
right.
No, I think the idea behind kombucha is that you want to indulge, but not that much. So I don't think people want a sugar-free kombucha. That's just love. They need to like
Mm-hmm.
make sure it tastes good as well, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's also true. Just waiting for Aditya. Whenever I see a name, I think it's Aditya, but then I figure out it's Akshay. So it's right.
So is it Aditya or is it Aditya?
I think it's Aditya because there's an H in it, but
Yeah, Aditya.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I have a relative with a similar name. So
Mm-hmm.
I think Aditya is more South Indian and
I th-
Aditya is more like bad.
exactly. I think it's best to ask him.
Yeah.
Have you tried the tonic water from Mossant?
No, it's not available in Mumbai, or at
Not
least,
yet? Oh.
uh, yeah. I mean, you can get it from their website, but I don't think it's convenient to get it from websites because tonic water is more like, okay, I want it now. So Blinkit is what you usually do, or stuff like that.
Yeah, right.
I think he should be here. Otherwise, Pratap, how's it going? It's
Going
been a
really
while since
good.
we spoke.
Yes, been a week.
Been a week. Yeah,
Yes.
Aditya is here. Hello.
Hey Yash, how are you?
Ekdam mast, ekdam mast.
Everybody?
Doing great, doing great.
Hi,
I think the
Aditya.
stream's being set up. I think we're live on YouTube.
Okay.
With I spay is live on X as well. Amazing.
Are we live
Say,
already?
yeah, yeah, we're live. You want us to like, you
No, yeah, it's
know,
okay.
wait for a bit, like
Just
maybe
go.
2 minutes.
You want to sit here? You want to sit away, is it? Ah, but you were saying?
You want me to like pause for like 5 minutes, 2 minutes, if that's fine.
No, let's go. I think we're good.
Say we are ready with props as well. I mean, we ordered like a bunch of bottles.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I just couldn't find a place to keep it. I had an empty one. I thought of keeping it there at the back, but I don't think it'll be visible.
No
But
problem.
love Mossant, love Mossant.
Thank
And so I was researching about craft beverages
you. Okay,
last month,
okay.
and like, okay, there's so much material on coffee, but
Yeah.
there's not much on kombucha, at least for India, right? So like, this is interesting.
Small category, small players.
Yeah.
Looking to solve that problem.
No, I mean, I see. I love kombucha, so I started. I think my kombucha journey began when I had a pizza at Pasta Salt.
Okay.
This is a fort. I'm not sure if it was Mossad, but it was a very similar form factor. I'm not sure if you guys sell
Not,
to them.
not
It was
sure.
like
I'm not
one and a
familiar.
half, 2 years ago, and
Okay.
that's when I started it. And then every restaurant I go to, first thing I ask, do you have a kombucha? If yes, great. So it became my diet coke with lime replacement in a way.
Interesting.
Yeah, and now that it's super accessible with
Yeah.
Blinkit, I mean, it's almost like a every other day. I think there's some other guest waiting. Let me just quickly admit them.
Huh?
Oh, it's a note taker. I don't think we need take it. No issues.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's how that began.
Eight,
So,
8 out of 10 of my
Mhm.
customers are actually drinking kombucha because they want to replace their Diet Coke. That's
Wow,
that,
really?
that's yeah. Which is one of the reasons why we actually came up with the cola kombucha.
Yeah,
Exactly.
this is like I'm a chronic Diet Coke drinker, and this is like pretty close. Like I like
Yeah,
this a lot.
it works. It does the job.
Yeah, it really does work.
Yeah.
And it's very low on calories too. It's like 34 calories for the entire bottle.
37. Yeah, 37. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
would you say like a health conscious consumer would be like the main target audience, or is it just people who come for the taste?
I look as a company, we're very big on flavor, right? Which is why
Right.
we kind of say at this point we're not doing anything zero sugar because we were like, okay, let's build on the flavor that people already know, and then we'll can we build on the flavor and give them healthy. I felt like we've somewhat achieved that right balance between the both, and that was important for us to do, at least in the first part of our journey, you know. And that's essentially why we did a cola. But we said, okay, let's see if we can push the boundary by cutting the sugar by 70%, and that's what we've done. And to the most people like it. Some people complain that it's less sweet, but most people
Mhm.
like it. I mean, that's the point, right? The point is to also um, not trick your brain into giving it artificial sweet, but to actually start slowly giving yourself low sugar and getting acclimatized to that. Hence, low sugar and not no sugar.
Interesting. Is it harder to crack flavor with something like an artificial sweetener, like an aspartame or something like
No,
that?
not at all. Not at all. Not in today's world. Not in today's world.
Interesting.
Yeah, like in my experience, like all the artificial sweeteners are just as good as sugar, if not better in some cases.
The
Like
newer ones,
personally.
the newer ones are mostly like blends, right? There's blend of monk fruit, allulose, sucralose. It's there. I mean, sugar is still the most delicious. Like, let's not take that away from like white sugar, but it's not very far away now. You don't
Interesting.
have that stevia, that aftertaste from a stevia that you used to get before in the older diet cokes. You don't have that much anymore.
And I think India is a very taste sensitive market. Like I don't think
It's
Indians care about authenticity as much as they just care about like taste appeal in the
No,
Indian
and
space.
we've always known that, right? I mean, just take yourselves as customers, right? Like, taste is everything. Like, if the taste is good, you'll go back to buying a second one. Then you'll need a
Right.
bottle. Then if it says okay, low calorie, okay, less sugar. Oh my God, added bonus. But taste is always like first on our head, right? Functionality is second to that.
Is kombucha one of those beverages where the where the brand has the most amount of control in what goes into it. Because at the end of the day, I think every piece of the puzzle you have control over it. Whereas in coffee, you're still dependent on the estates and whatnot. So do you think a brand can sort of tune their bottle to sort of taste like a Mossant? Is that
It's
possible?
actually not very true in that case because we're
Mhm.
actually reliant on fermentation, which is a universal
Right.
process, just like how a coffee bean grows and weather plays a very important role. It's just that Mossant as such has a lot more uh, power when it comes to fermentation because I believe we've completely understood the process, and at this point, we've we've figured out how to control all of the factors to make sure you get consistent brews every time. Just like is in instant coffee a bad example? I don't. Maybe not. But yeah,
Fair. So how have you seen, Indians? What have you seen like changes in the Indian consumption patterns when it comes to craft beverages? What demographic is consuming the most craft beverages right now?
I think still there's the conversion into craft hasn't happened in the way we wanted at least. I mean, it's still. I would say we are still 2 or 3 years ahead of the peak, which is not a bad thing for us as a company. But I think craft is a word that's also very freely used these days. And so I would say I would sort of in this context, I would rephrase craft to better for you. Not
Okay,
even healthy, but better for you. Right? Healthy health again is a very personal thing. What might be healthy for you is probably not healthy for me, and vice versa. I would just say it's better for you than something that we used to consume before. And sodas as a market, the better for you is going to boom in the next 2 years because of adoption, Gen Zs coming in wanting a cleaner option, people in general having a lot more information for them to read and wanting a cleaner sort of option. So I feel like we're still about 2 years ahead of the peak, but shifts are happening. And I feel like a lot of shift is happening towards zero sugar now more than anything else. I think the next wave of the shift will be to move to something completely natural, apart
interesting.
from just being lower on calories. Like you'll want the real deal in terms of a fruiting. With today's technology, it's completely possible for FMCG players to be able to do that and maintain consistencies. So I feel like over the next couple of years, you'll see more natural products, more less processed products, more cleaner coming on the shelves. And I think that's when it'll start peaking, and that's also just good for the standard demographic.
I
Interesting.
mean,
What's the hard? Yeah. Sorry, you can take it, brother. Yeah.
yeah, another trend that's like getting really popular is like adding protein to basically anything you can. Like if you look at Amul, for example, like they'll add protein to paneer, they'll add protein to colas. I'm curious if a protein kombucha makes sense. Just a thought.
I I guess, but Amul actually has a protein soda. Did you guys know this?
They have a cola
So I
bar
did.
that
They had
I've
a
tried.
probiotic soda
10,
for
10 grams of, they have a prebiotic soda, I think.
right.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but they have a protein soda. You can look it up. And basically, Amul has a lot of whey that they throw away, right? So
Hmm.
a byproduct of that is actually very easy to make a protein-based soda. It's I don't think we're very far away from making one ourselves either.
Protein-based drinks end up tasting weird. At least like this is my observation. It's hard to make them taste good.
Yeah.
Why do you think is that?
Uh, Look, I also feel like it is we are getting into a stage where like just like anything else, protein is becoming a little bit of a mainstay, and a lot of development and technology will now go into making it as easy for us to consume. Like the other day I was looking at this brand called Protease, that it's basically clear way. You can just like you can mix it in your lemonade and drink it and it's tasteless. So we're there. We're not very far away from there, but adoption will happen soon. Like I said, we're still about 2-3 years from this sort of beverage and this sort of adoption coming into the market from a customer side too.
Interesting. So let's say if you're speaking to someone who just started making some money, all right, and they want to sort of improve their taste and build better taste for beverages. So how would you recommend that they start? 'Cause this is the
Can
first thing. This is the first thing.
sorry, I didn't get that. Can you say that again?
So let's say someone's just started making money, right? Like, okay, let's
Okay.
say a 23-year-old just got his first job. They want to build better taste in beverages so that they can appreciate, craft beverages as a thing. Like, where should they start? Do you think coffee is a good place to start? Like, what should be the way to build a
At the
taste profile?
moment, coffee is looking like a great place to start. Um, but um, I I wouldn't say their FMCG adoption for craft coffee has come yet. And for some reason I don't think it'll happen too, because it is going, regardless, if you want to put good coffee out there, it's going to be expensive. And nobody has controls on the beans, right? The beans are a commodity by themselves and they go at a particular standard rate. So if you want to put a FMCG product out there, say even for example a cold brew like a Blue Toka has done, I wouldn't consider that cheap. So I
Yeah.
would say if somebody wanted to get into making a beverage, I would say look at the Indian diaspora, look at what 99% of the people are consuming, because only 1%, less than 1% is consuming craft. And I would say that's a good place to start. Solve the real problem, not the problem for the top 1%.
I agree so much on this because like in Mumbai there's a bubble around like Bandra cafes and like
Yeah.
specialty coffee that I see that I don't necessarily agree with, because like the masses, they're not really going to see a difference between a Nescafe coffee, for example, and like something that they might make in a V60.
Yeah.
So yeah, really
Look,
I echo your thoughts on.
for a regular Indian, the flavor of coffee is a coffee bite.
Yeah.
What you like,
Right.
right? Chocolatey, milky, caramel, sweet notes, milk. That's what you need from a coffee. That's what takes you back, and that's our sort of how do you say, totem when it comes to coffee in terms of flavor. So trying to give them an acidic coffee.
Yeah, and most people that go to like a specialty coffee place, for example, it's more for the experience than anything. Like people in India go to Starbucks to, enjoy the ambience and work there, not necessarily for the coffee. So
Yeah, I mean it's a look. I feel like coffee, again, as unregulated as it is in terms of caffeine. Um, it's a community thing, right? It's a social thing. You go out, and how much alcohol can you have, or how much can you eat? Like coffee becomes a good thing to add. And similarly, like that was the entry point into us making a kombucha too. And I mean, discovery of kombucha also happened in places like these, which is restaurants and coffee shops. Because for us, after coffee, people are drinking kombuchas in cafe, because how much coffee can you drink,
It
right?
makes
So
sense. Because
it becomes a good entry point for a brand like us trying to push out a
would
better.
you I'm curious if you like if there's like a parallel between like how in Europe you have uh like like flavored water. I think that's what it's called. Like I think kombucha can be somewhat similar to that, but in India.
like as a water replacement of sorts.
Yeah, like sparkling water. Yeah, that would be the right word.
Ah, okay. Actually, I wouldn't compare it to a water. I'd actually compare it to a soda. Like,
Okay.
there's so much rage about this prebiotic soda, right? You have to just think of kombucha as probiotic soda. That's what it is. And at least that's the format in which we're making kombucha, right? At the end of the day, we're probiotic and shelf stable. Not a lot of companies can say that about themselves. But I mean, that's the way the cookie crumbles. We're working on positioning ourselves as the probiotic soda and not necessarily a kombucha. It potentially is the same thing, but it's easier for somebody like for an average Joe to understand what he's consuming, right? And
Correct.
that's what we need. At the end of the day, companies like us has started with the intention of putting just a better product out there for a consumer. And I think there are two ways you can achieve that in India. At least one is accessibility through pricing, and the other one is to put out the right kind of information so that they're not they're not intimidated by lifting a bottle and drinking, right? If you see a Mossant bottle, for example, there's very less health fat, because we wanted to focus on the flavor and the color. Just pick it up and drink it, and then worry about the rest later. If you go ahead, if you like the taste and if you find out it's actually doing good for you, it's a double win for us.
Interesting. So, okay, the way coffee so coffee can help you upsell a lot of food, right? I mean, you can do an omakase experience, you can do a bunch of different cool stuff, and you
Yeah.
can make the bill way bigger for the consumer. Do you think
Yeah.
that's an opportunity for something like kombucha? Are there certain, meal courses that go brilliantly with kombucha? Is that something
Oh,
that people are
100%.
exploring?
I think something that set Mossant apart from everybody else, at least in our early days, was We have a Naru noodle bar in Bangalore, which is one of the hardest restaurants in
Mhm.
India to get a reservation. And with him, we did like a not bacon kombucha, which was like a smoky kombucha that we made specifically for him that goes really well with his tonkotsu ramen, right? So that was a little bit of a game changer for us. Nowadays, we're seeing that there's massive adoption of kombucha with what do you say, with pizzas. Sorry, sorry, I keep getting this call. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to
Yeah.
quit this. Sorry about that, guys. Okay,
No worries.
sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, you're on smoky kombucha.
Yeah, so that was one of the first things that we did where we said, okay, let's try and pair our kombucha with a meal. Because we also realized very early on, we were one of the first people to get onto quick commerce. And because it was just such a Bangalore
Mhm.
thing that it started, we also kind of knew the people who were ordering from quick commerce. Now it's vast and it's very hard for us to get data, but before we could. And we realized that people are basically drinking kombucha along with their meal, right? And the information at
Okay.
that time was kombucha, very good probiotic, drink it in the morning when you get up. And I felt like, why nudge yourself into that corner where you feel like you have to drink this beverage only at a particular time for it to be of help to you, right? Why can't it just be a beverage that you're getting with your meal? And then when we understood that people are drinking kombucha because they wanted to replace a beer or a coke, and most of that consumption is happening while they're drinking, eating it or drinking it with their meal. That sort of set the stage for us to say, okay, I mean, the next thing for us to do is to at least passively start pairing it with food and trying to put that information out there. So I think it's a big thing. I mean, Coca-Cola does it, so like, who are we to say no to it?
Interesting. So would you say, okay, this is just a random thought, right? Would you say the way the matcha adoption wave came in India, do you think kombucha will have a similar story in a way? Like
Uh,
pricing, like more
I feel like
sector
matcha was
specific.
very much driven by social media.
I feel like matcha
I,
came and went.
Oh, it's gone.
I feel like it's gone. I feel like again, I feel like the failure of matcha for me is the fact that people never really understood it. It just
Okay.
ended up being that cool green thing that people are picking out.
yeah,
And hopefully kombucha can do a better than that in at least people trying to understand it and why they're consuming it and why they should pick it over like a standard beverage.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think like you drink matcha mostly for the aesthetic of drinking matcha, not necessarily for the matcha itself. And you drink kombucha because you just like kombucha. Like I'm
Some
noticing.
people do. We won't generalize, and some people definitely drink it for the aesthetic, is what I feel. Yeah. I
At
mean,
least that's what's portrayed.
if kombucha has that appeal where, if people who are drinking kombucha can be cool, well, awesome, job done.
No, we were just discussing, me and Pratham were discussing before the call how matcha was more like a female forward beverage in general, the way, I mean, just in terms of perception. Do you
Yeah.
think that's the case for kombucha? Like, because when it's female forward, it sells like
55,
crazy. That's what you've thought.
55% of our customer base are female.
Why is that?
I feel like adoption happens there, right? Even at home, they're the decision makers at home, and adoption happens there. So they're always going to be the first one open to pick a bottle and try one. Because I also feel like, uh, in general, um the opposite sex sort of wants to stay on the right path and stay healthy and things like that. They're the first adopters for that as well. And then kombucha just follows that trajectory. Where if they're making that decision at home, they would rather stock the home with a better beverage than not.
Interesting. Like from a very culinary sense, because I figured you're a chef as well.
Yeah.
What differences have you seen in like the male and the female palate, and like the things that they like or order on an average based on your
No,
experience?
I don't think I can say I don't think there would be a difference in terms of palate, but there's definitely a difference in terms of choice. And the choice and hence 55-45.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Interesting. So okay, so with the problem with most coffee, specialty coffee places, people they have to explain what a pour over is and why it's different from an Americano. Is that the case for kombucha? Like, is there a need for education? And if
Oh,
yes,
there
like,
is
how do you? Okay.
100% there is, and I feel like that's the biggest barrier, right, for us, for us small companies, and almost every other company who started kombucha at this point. The biggest barrier for us is that we're not able to put dollars behind education or large marketing campaigns and things like that. Which is why a lot. I think about 7 out of 10 people will be very hesitant to even try it. क्या है यार, समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, क्यों पिए इसको? Like, kya hai kombucha? They're better off drinking nimbu pani at home, or they're better off drinking a Coke, or better off drinking a Fanta. It's the same choice between picking a Diet Coke and a Coke, regular Coke also, right? Like Diet Coke, even to the large part, the customer base is like, Coke ka taste acha hai, Diet Coke is a little weird. Proper urban folk will always pick a Diet Coke. But you step outside of Bombay, you to the outskirts, how many places do you actually find a Diet Coke? You'll be struggling to find one. But that's the reality of the country, right? The minute you step out of your thick urban population, all of this fades away into regular Coke, Fanta, Mirinda.
Correct.
That's what it is.
True,
Sugary
true,
drinks.
true.
What
The
city
very
consumes
first.
the most amount of kombucha?
Say that again.
What city consumes the most amount of
Bangalore.
kombucha in India?
Bangalore. Yeah. Let's if I were to break it down, I think it's Bangalore, Bombay, Delhi, Hyderabad, Chennai.
And
It
is
sounds
it
about right.
mainly restaurants? Is it mainly restaurants in Mumbai?
No, large restaurants in Bangalore. For restaurants, it's Bangalore, Delhi, Bombay, Hyderabad, Chennai. That's the
Interesting.
Horeca segment of business.
Cool. Pratham, I cut you out. I think you can take the question.
No, I was just saying that sounds about right, like about what I expected, like large metro cities, the first adopters of something like this. And like frankly, the very
Tier
first
2 also does really well for us. Like, surprising thing is Coimbatore has outperformed like a Pune for us this summer. And
oh
we thought
really?
Pune would be a much larger market. It's crazy, crazy. But those are the
That's
numbers.
very interesting. Are there a lot of, immigrant? Is there an immigrant population in Coimbatore? Because Pune has a lot of people coming
I
in.
feel like it's again yet another industrial town, right? A lot of money, a lot of people with access, lot of people with exposure also. So I think it's a little bit of that, just like Pune. But again, of course, much hotter climate.
Actually, you do raise a good point. It's like some of the tier three cities, like they tend to surprise me even with like some of the fashion trends or like other sorts of trends that you might see there. Sometimes they're ahead of like the metro cities. So
And
very interesting.
mostly these industrial sort of towns, right? Like Nagpur,
Yeah, Nagpur.
for
Yeah,
example, which is because it's much closer to Bangalore, a Coimbatore, a Pune, Visakhapatnam.
I was surprised too. So I was in Kolhapur some time back,
Hmm.
and I had a really good pour over there, and I was surprised. How is that? Like, how can you make a great pour in Kolhapur? And so many restaurants in Mumbai struggle with it, right? And and they had their deals with a bunch of the top estates, like the best beans, and I was surprised. This is Kolhapur. It's not even Nagpur where okay, there is a coffee culture.
Yeah.
And the guy showed me the roastery. They had like a ProBite roaster in Kolhapur. I was so surprised. But that's that.
He's roasting beans in Kolhapur.
Yes, they're roasting beans in Kolhapur.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
The shop's called Katha, and there's another Katha in I think Ahmedabad or Surat. I'm not
Hyderabad.
sure. Hyderabad, yes. So I was like, is it the
Tata
same?
has two stores, one in Hyderabad and one in Kolhapur. That's crazy. Okay.
No. So that's a different one. So I thought it's the same thing, but he's like, no, this is the different. This is the same name. He checked with the guy saying it's okay. But that's right. So my question here being okay for coffee, there's like an immediate upsell factor. Right? So you start with a darker roast to give them a cappuccino and eventually get them to a V60 or like a really, really nice pour or whatever. Right? What's the same case for kombucha? Like what's the upsell here?
I would say if you were to start drinking a kombucha, you would start with a brand like Mossant. It's the easiest entry point, right? It tastes very familiar, doesn't smell funky. It smells like the flavor that's mentioned. So it's an easy kombucha to drink. And then maybe you can move on to something a little bit more, how do you say, maybe like an atmosphere or something which is maybe slightly a little bit more funky, etc., etc. They potentially do the same thing. It's just if you wanted an entry point, you want an entry point that's very familiar to you and not something that's a little out there.
And would you say you're making like Indian kombucha in a way, kombucha for the Indian palate in a certain way?
100%. As a motto of the company. Where company
because
beverages for the Indians. The name might say otherwise, but in ethos, that's what we're doing.
The very first kombucha I had was in Blue Tokai, and it was not very pleasant. Probably not the best kombucha to start off with. Like very sour, very bitter.
Yeah.
This was
I feel like all the
not
kombucha
better.
companies have changed that now. I feel like in general you will go out, there's a standard in which kombucha company, like the good ones operate, and they all put out fairly stable kombucha out there, right? Um, it's just the norm, right? Like for any industry as such, there is that curve in which we're all learning. And that was between 2019 and 2022, where all of us have had up and downs, and we figure out technology. It's a category that never existed, right? So most of the beer equipment had to be retrofitted. Like if you walk into my factory, which is kind of behind me, you will still see our old tanks, which are meant for beer but are retrofitted to brew kombucha in some way or the other. It's a different world now, but it was a little bit, it was a lot of learning for everybody, which is why you've had like some kombuchas taste good, some not good. Nobody wants to put a bad product out there, but it's just the industry needed to go through that curve. We're in a better place now, I think.
What flavors you thought would do amazingly well in India, but they just didn't?
Look, when Mossant started, we were two guys with a bougie idea of trying to do something for the world of tea. And what we thought would has happened to coffee right now in terms of the boom of coffee, we thought would happen to tea because we actually grow more tea than we do coffee. And very quickly we realized that India is actually not a tea drinking country, but a chai drinking country. It's two very different things. So initially when we started, we were doing like summer flush oolongs from Bemlapur and some sort of an Earl Grey from Assam, or like a nice sencha from Darjeeling and things like that. Very, very expensive teas. Very quickly
Mhm.
realized that nobody cared. The minute we put in cola, people started taking us a lot more seriously because it's what they wanted to drink. So
Correct.
our tea flavors, which we thought would do really well in India, actually didn't do well at all. The minute we started putting cola, ginger, lime, using the same teas, mind you,
Mm.
we didn't step away from the teas because that's not who we are. We just wanted to make it more appealing to people. So we took the green tea, the really expensive green tea that we used to buy from the Nilgiris, and we built our cola on top of it. Our yuzu is made from the same similar oolong that we get. So we still at the core, our products are all based on single origin loose leaf teas. It's just flavors that are built on top and marketed differently now.
Interesting. Interesting. So you're saying Earl Grey didn't work like Earl. I think Earl Grey is a very
Earl
specific
Grey it's the most favorite kombucha that I make, right?
Ah, okay.
And yeah, unfortunately, there are not too many takers. Or let's just say
Most
there are more
people
takers for the
matcha.
cola and the ginger and the peach than the Earl Grey.
Mm-hmm. You should try the Earl Grey tea matcha. Like so someone made a fusion drink. Like it's brilliant. I'm like, this is
It's
good.
really good. We have a matcha bar in Bangalore called shit, what is the name of this place? I'd love to mention Sakura Matcha Bar. Excellent Earl Grey matcha. Really good.
It's pretty interesting. So I think from what I remember, the way they make it is just like a syrup they keep,
Yeah.
and then just it's
This,
brilliant. I mean,
this,
you don't
this
get
one
the weird
actually is
taste
like
of matcha.
a oat milk Earl Grey situation with matcha on top. It's quite good actually. Really good.
Right. Correct me if I'm wrong. So I enjoy craft, and I usually tend to ask questions. "कि ये कैसे बना है? How is this made?" I usually trouble the barista a lot whenever I go somewhere.
Okay.
I don't quite get as excited when it's matcha because everything's usually imported and like
Yeah.
there's not much story behind it. Right? There's nothing much. The shop owner would tell you about it,
Yeah.
and that's where I have like a slight maybe not matcha, but when it's something indigenous, someone has a story behind it.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I think
Yeah.
kombucha there stands out.
I mean, that's what we wanted. We were trying to attempt with the teas that we're using in our kombucha, right?
Mhm.
So now we don't talk much about it. We talk about flavor first. We talk about cola. We talk about it being better. We talk about it having low sugar. That's the time. That's all we can do with the information that we have to put up, because nobody really cares about the origin stories of everything. But we're trying to change that. We're actually working on the next set of products for us, and we're working with GI tagged fruits to put into sodas now. And I feel like again we want to tell the Indian origin story very strongly with this. So that's what we're trying to do, but more information shortly.
Interesting. You guys also do tonic waters, from what I
Yes,
saw.
we do. Yes, we do.
So why did you get into a completely different category like this? I'm assuming this is a completely different
So
market.
no, I mean it was not something that we did because we could. There's a
Mhm.
little bit more calculated than that. So what happened was between 2019 when we just started in 2022, we were one of the only players of kombucha on quick commerce, right? And quick commerce boomed like mad. So
Right.
pretty much all our capacity went into just catering to the quick commerce. And then very soon at that point, there was an influx point when we realized that all our eggs are in one basket. And then we needed to go after hotels and restaurants and things like that. It wasn't an easy category to sort of get into. Like people are like, "Fuck are you guys selling? Like I don't understand what's going on." So tonic gave us a very good entry point into people understanding why this product needed to be on their shelves. And then quickly after, we started introducing our kombuchas too. That's why we made tonic to get into Horeca. And while we were scaling kombucha, we figured out a different way of manufacturing beverages, and tonic was sort of the first thing that we did with it, right? Because we had to keep our beverages clean, we also
Mhm.
had to scale it. We didn't want to use a preservative, or we didn't want to necessarily treat over process our beverages because we wanted to maintain the integrity of the kombucha itself. And whilst we scaled that setup, we figure out a slightly different way of manufacturing. So we have four different tonics. We have a passion fruit tonic, the passion fruits from Wayanad. We have an jalapeno tonic. We have a rosemary tonic. The rosemary comes from a farm above in Bangalore. And yeah, it's real ingredients in real in a product, right? It's not a concentrate. It's not an essence. It's none of that. So we even with our kombuchas, like for cola, for example, is a concentrate that we use of 18 different essential oils. With the next line of products, that's not. We wanted to step away from that and sort of push the boundaries a little bit more and say let's pick a real ingredient and let's try and put it into a beverage. Let's try and with tonic, the appeal is to always remain clear. That was a very
Mhm.
hard thing to do. Like how do you take something like an jalapeno, juice it, and then it's
Right.
like green sludge, and then how do you make it clear? That was something that was an interesting problem for us to solve, and we have solved that to the most part. So if you take any of our tonics, they're all clear. They have a slight tinge in terms of color,
Mhm.
but they're mostly transparent.
Interesting. Isn't it like one of the hardest segments to sort of get in? Because like there's like a Schweppes there, and half the restaurants would end up taking it Schweppes.
Yeah, 100%. So our goal was to never sell a classic tonic because Schweppes is
Right.
doing it. Schweppes is doing it at a price, and more than anything else, like a bartender when he's creating drinks, right?
Mm.
He's thinking of Schweppes when he's creating that drink in his head, right? If he were to use a tonic, and that it's so hard for us to come and replace that. So what we did was we started focusing on flavored tonic. We said let's put an jalapeno tonic that can be used in a gin and a tequila. Not too many people are offering that
Right.
in the market, right? Let's do a passion fruit mix for great spritz. Let's do the rosemary because then it brings a savory element into it without the bartender really putting too much effort to it. And our customer are not the best bars in the country. It's the guys who are pushing
Mm.
out high volume drinks, but they want to make a good cocktail without really having to put too much effort into it, right? And keep them consistent at the same time. That's my customer, and that's whom we wanted to target. And these are mostly restaurants that have more than 100 to 150 covers. And that was a great entry point for kombucha to also come in saying, like, now you've used our tonics to make cocktails. Why don't you try kombucha? And why don't you also offer them as the non-alcoholic beverage?
Can it be like an upgrade of sorts? Like you take a Schweppes cocktail will be this much, but if you want an upgrade, you can get something like a Mossant mixer.
We actually tried pushing that agenda. It didn't really work out for us.
Why is that?
Not entirely sure. People weren't really biting into it. Becomes another thing for somebody to order, right? Like, should I do this? And it was the same problem when Swami did it between the regular tonic and the zero sugar tonic that they had. Nobody was really opting for the zero sugar tonic, and they weren't even necessarily be able to push zero tonic into the hotels, restaurants, and bars. We were only
If
able
I
to
had to
put
take a Swami tonic, if I had to take a Mossant tonic,
yeah.
like what difference would I see as a consumer? Like, is one of them catered more towards specific spirit? Like,
Difference
what?
at all. I mean, see, the thing is, it's two products. I really
Right.
like the Swami tonic too. Not to say that
Mhm.
like I feel like they changed and they sort of gave a lot of confidence to us other players to sort of get into that market. And I wouldn't say they're different. from an ethos standpoint, both of them are very different, right? We had a particular signature in which we've made their tonic, and they've had
Right.
that. Um, the unfortunate part is, for us, our larger aim was to always sell a kombucha. Was
Right.
actually not to sell a tonic. For them, tonic was their primary baby. That's sort of the difference in terms of positioning for both the brands.
Interesting. So let's get to quick commerce, right? So let's say if someone wants to get their product out in quick commerce, make, let's say that's the only form of distribution they want apart from their website. Like what economics or like what scale should that brand essentially have? Let's say they're selling a kombucha. Like, okay, you need to sell at least these many bottles, and
Even
because you give a 30% commission. Yeah.
I don't think quick commerce in today's day, a small brand entering quick commerce, I don't think it works under the 35% commission anymore. The pricing structure is a lot more staggered, is what I understand. When we got into the game and quick commerce was just coming, that was the deal, right? All of us have this thing where we pay the, like, just like any other retail channel, we pay the quick commerce a particular retail margin and it's done. It's not like that anymore. There are loading charges, unloading charges, there are warehousing charges, there's a minimum stock charge, there's a space that you'll have to buy from them. It's really staggered and it's really confusing. So recently a friend of mine who's working on a canned water brand tried to list his product on one of these platforms, and he was just explaining to me the varied cost structure they have. It's a very, very hard entry point right now. It'll probably be easy for you to get in, but to be able to sort of crack open that barrier, do business, and be profitable, tough.
What I see happening
So
here is that you
if quick commerce is going to be the only channel for distribution that you're looking for, please go ahead and raise that money because you will need it. I'm not to say it'll not get profitable after over and above a period of time, but you're not going to start off being a profitable business.
so would you say like quick commerce is mostly as a form of distribution to just get your name out there than something that you can build something profitable on, and then you use other channels to.
I think Horeca as a distribution channel is something that you should use to get your name out there, because there not only are people discovering you on a menu or on a shelf somewhere,
Correct.
but people also are limited by choices, so they'll end up picking you and tasting you. But in quick commerce, in today's world, it's not like that because it's like a scrolling maze. Like you'll have to scroll and scroll and scroll, and brands who've been there before and brands who know how to do this will always make sure to put themselves on top to be seen, and that's the game for us on quick commerce anyways.
Also, there are performance targets. If you don't meet those, then you get delisted from these like quick commerce
Yes.
platforms. So it's
Yeah,
very
but
tough.
delisting is the thing they do anyway. We've been delisted a bunch of times too, but like we've managed to get
Oh
back.
wow.
But it happens. It happens. It's just what
Interesting.
it is. And also always remember that quick commerce also is young in India. It's just 5, 6 years old at the most. So they're also going through that curve of learning and solving problems just like we are.
Interesting. So let's say if I'm a new brand, if I want to get into a restaurant, like how do I approach them? Because you already have like a Mossant selling a tonic water there, right? So how do I ask them to use mine?
Honestly, the branding on the bottle and the taste will have to speak for itself. Then comes pricing. We do sometimes pricing, sometimes we do FOC. We're not the brand that usually gives out free stuff as a policy, but if there is an event, we'll end up supporting it. Connections definitely help getting into restaurants.
Yeah, I saw Mossant at Bombay Sweet Shop recently.
Yeah.
Interesting. So like, it fits in the sweet category. I was surprised that I saw people drinking it. It was very
Yeah,
interesting.
so I think we got on to Hungering, which is the parent company,
Uh-huh.
when Veronica's opened, and and like, Hungering is one of those companies. I think they're on the forefront of always something new and something exciting, and they very strongly believe that kombucha is a good offering in a coffee shop like Veronica's, and they onboarded us. And that's how now we slowly, and because of the response we've had across their outlets, now we're in Bombay Canteen and Bombay Sweet Shop and other places. And like, I mean, if there's distribution and if there's access, you will sell by virtue of just being on a menu.
Interesting.
So
Like,
speaking more about like so your point about like these sorts of businesses being cash guzzlers, I'm curious, how did you found
Sorry, I didn't
Mozart
get that.
without?
Can you say that again?
No, I was saying that generally these sorts of businesses like beverages and FMCG it's a cash guzzling business. So I'm curious, how did you guys crack it without any funding?
Uh, man, I'm also poor. That's the answer. No, so I we've operated very lean, right? And I think that was a good way to do it. We were not in a hurry to spend a lot of marketing. We don't have large marketing budgets. We looked at this business from a very hyper local perspective. We looked at what's around us. We looked at what we can do around us. When we built distribution, which were delivering to quick commerce in other cities, we didn't go to a standard distributor. When we reached out to them, they said this category is too small. We don't know what this is. We don't want to deal with this. So we have had to go travel to each one of these cities, catch one auto guy, tell him that stock aayega bus mein. So we've had to do all of that. We've had to stay lean. It's been hard. But the thing that worked out for us was also the fact that as we were growing, the category was growing. So we
Right.
never had to play catch up, right? So it's just think of it, right place, right time, right category sort of thing. We've had time to grow with the category. We've had time to like take a step back, ponder, make those changes. We were the first ones, so we were also the ones creating the rules on some level in the early days. So that helps. That always helps.
Interesting. What part of the beverage usually breaks on a beverage brand breaks when someone's trying to scale? Like, what's the hardest thing to scale apart
Right.
from, let's say, consistency?
Price, because everything will scale, but your price has to degrow and descale, right? You have to keep bringing down the price point low when you want to sell. We were selling at about 130. When we started Mossant, we was kombucha selling at 150. Then we believed 130 was the right price point. Then we got dropped it down to 99. Got slapped with a 40% GST recently. Um,
How are you guys dealing with that? Like, it's probably
Don't
hard.
deal with it, dude. You pay tax and then you figure it out later. But paying the tax is the right thing to do first. Some brands do it, some brands don't. But that's okay. To everyone,
Right.
their business.
But is
But
that something you're trying to fight with the
no, hundred
government?
percent and 100%. We've been look. It's wrong for us to be categorized under just a blanketed carbonated beverage because that's
Mm,
not what
Yeah,
we.
true, true.
And but the thing is, one when there is a, you'll have to be in the system to fight the system. You can't
right.
stand outside the system and fight with the system, right? So when we got slapped with this sort of rule, we've had to sort of change. We've had to make changes. We've had to pay the 40% tax because that's the right thing to do. And immediately after that, we've just, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, business continues, and over a period of time, yes, we will end up fighting
How
with.
did you keep the price similar to 130 and 99 while
Yeah, we
having
have to,
40%?
we have to take the hit, dude, because look, think about it like this, right?
Yeah,
Not a lot of people. It took us a while. We did increase our price back to 130 rupees.
correct.
We did it. We changed our price from 99 to 130 rupees because we're a small company and we're bootstrapped. It took us a little time for us to get used to the cash flows part of it, and it took us about 6 months to just regularize operations and sort of start paying that quantum of tax. Right, 40% is a lot of money to pay, and but over a period of time, you also end up achieving scale. Like I said, the category is growing, and we are growing with it. Is growing at about 24% CAGR, and Mossant as a company has been growing about 150% every year. So just by virtue of scale, we have been able to bring the price down.
How big is the kombucha market now?
Kombucha market roughly about 200-250 crores.
So I'm curious, like I think it's been validated also by Tata with their Tetley kombucha. I'm sure like they're also like fighting the battle for like the 40% GST. So like
Exactly.
at the yeah, Tetley.
Yes,
Tetley also is kombucha.
100%, right? And like, see, like even for any small brewer as such, like any government regulation body will first look and say, dude, Tata's paying 40%. What gives you the right not to pay 40%? That's it. Like he's the biggest, like it's Tata. It's not anybody else. So that's another thing. And I feel like Tata again, look, our product is better and cheaper. That's the bottom line. It's anybody will tell you this, which is why we own a much larger market share than they do.
Like something I've noticed throughout this interview is that no matter what happens, like the 40% GST or the unit economics being tricky to
Yeah.
capture, I think your commitment to the taste and like the user experience is something that keeps coming up again and again.
In
And I
a
really like
world
to see
where
that.
in a world where everything changes every day, these are the only few things that I have control over, and I'd like to keep them. That's all it is.
Interesting. Interesting. So what's next for Mossant? Like, are any new flavors coming in that you'd like to reveal here?
Yeah, 100%. Where we just launched a vanilla cola on First Club.
Okay.
Oh wow.
We're very excited. So hopefully we can see it flow into other platforms soon. We we're working on a line of soda, which are like I said, from GI tag fruits and things like that. So that'll come soon. I can't reveal, unfortunately, too much about it at the moment, but it's coming soon, summer 27.
Interesting. So I'll just give you a small context on like what we do at the fund, right? So our fund is for people under 25, and it starts with a non-equity check, and later on they can also raise from us.
Right.
The idea being, let's say someone wants to get into the space, like beverages, like
Yeah.
not let's say craft bhi nahi karna hai, beverage karna hai. ठीक
Yeah.
है? Like what are certain openings you still see? This is something you can do as someone who has one limited capital and two no experience in this.
Look, like I said, people are still not building beverages from the Indian diaspora. There are very few brands that are doing it, and that market is wide open. But
Right.
you have to just, India is a very, very price sensitive market. So if you can figure your groove, giving the people what they want and giving it to them at the price that they're happy with, it's there. And believe you me, not a lot of brands are doing it. Very, very few brands are doing it.
Give me an example. What are certain things you would have solved if you had the time?
I feel like a good beverage to put out there is between the 30 and the 40 rupees at this point. If we can manage to put out a clean label beverage within that price point, that gap is wide open. That even in terms of pricing, right? You have all of these beverages between 5 rupees and 25 rupees. And then again, starting from 40, 45, 50 rupees onward, which is your Diet Cokes, goes all the way till about 70, 80 bucks, which is your probiotic, prebiotic soda. That market is going to get flooded right now. Every time I open Instamart, I see one new prebiotic soda, one
Right.
either it's a Switch or a Quincy, or it's just like, I can't even pronounce the names
Yeah.
anymore, right? And from the 980 onwards, you have your kombuchas, your Red Bulls of the world, your imported beverages, so to say. And like right now, the gap is here between the 25 and the 50 rupees sort of mark. That's the gap. And
Do you
in
think a Yakult alternative could probably be the case for this?
say that again.
Like a Yakult alternative of sorts? Because I haven't seen any alternative
Oh,
for that.
100%. I feel like my co-founder Shishir and I will retire when we're able to put a 10 rupee Yakult out there in the market. We really want to do that.
And I'm assuming that doesn't get
We'll
you
do
much.
that at a time when people understand why it's necessary for it to be consumed every day. When we're able to achieve passing on that information and putting that product out there, I think our job is done.
I mean,
Yakult is hard to make. Like, let's say if someone is 23,
It's
22.
not hard to make, but it's hard to make something like that and for it to taste really good.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we want to do. That's what we want to change.
any thoughts on ginger ale?
Too many. I don't have any thoughts because there are too many ginger ales, and people in India have a warped sense of ginger. Some people like it spicy, some people like it sweet. It's weird.
Well, the Schweppes ginger ale tastes just like Sprite, so I don't know where the ginger is.
All right. So, and exactly that. So to some people that's ginger ale. Okay. And but to some people, ginger means you gotta get that throat hit. So yeah, whatever. Like people in India like ginger, don't take it too seriously because it's been done to death.
Right, makes sense. I mean, and there's the things like root beer and like other beverages. I'm seeing a lot of sparkling water brands coming up, like zero sugar alternatives to regular soda. So that seems like a very booming market. Paperboat entered that, and they've
No,
done
unfortunately,
very well.
that market also was actually a really good market. There was like again until October last year, you were able to put not add any kind of sweetener, but add some flavor and do like a flavored carbonated water, and you're
Right.
paying 18% GST, but you can't be that anymore. So a lot of that.
Oh, is it?
And Schweppes has entered that market, so I think it's going to be
Yeah,
bad in the next few.
yeah. I mean, look, we're in a world where we you can't be faced by the big guys. We will have a market too. We will have a say too, thanks to quick commerce. And at least in the first 5 or 7 years of business, you win by survival. You have to survive, and you'll automatically win. 1,000 days proves that you can't be shaken. 5,000 days will set you in for success.
I feel like almost every beverage brand that has come up in the last, I don't know, since forever, it's always been acquired by a Coca-Cola or a Pepsi. Like Thumbs Up got acquired by PepsiCo,
Yeah. I
and
think, like, look, it's the big stack bully, right? In a poker game,
Mm,
we're not going to let you play. It's the rules of the world. You either sell to them or you try to do this on your own. Either ways, um, only when you're in the seat of the founder will you kind of understand the nuances of selling your business or not. So it is what it is.
cool. I think our meeting was till 3:30 and it's gone to 3:50. I'm sorry for the,
No problem at all.
but it's been great talking to you.
Likewise,
Would
boys.
love to host you if you're in Mumbai sometime soon.
Thank you.
We end up doing a bunch of events every now and then,
absolutely.
and whenever you're around, would love to have you.
Thank
Thank you so much, Pratham.
thank you.
Any closing questions? Any closing remarks?
No, I learned a lot from this like podcast that we had. Thank you so much for being here, Aditya.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me. Drink more kombucha.
100%. Thank you so much. Have an
Absolutely.
amazing day ahead, boss. Bye bye.
Okay, bye bye.